Germany's military during World War II combined advanced technology, powerful weapons, and innovative tactics. From tanks and aircraft to artillery and rockets, its arsenal played a major role in shaping the battlefield. So, let's begin. Ground Forces German Army, Wehrmacht. The Karabiner 98K rifle, the standard German bolt-action rifle chambered in 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser. It served as the primary infantry weapon throughout World War II. The rifle was known for its durability, precision, and long, effective range. German soldiers relied on it in nearly every theater of the war. The MP-40 submachine gun, a compact submachine gun widely issued to officers, paratroopers, and assault troops. It fired 9 by 19 mm parabellum ammunition from a detachable magazine. Its controllable automatic fire made it effective in close-quarters combat. The weapon became one of the most recognizable firearms of the German military. The MG-34 machine gun, one of the world's first true general-purpose machine guns. It could be used on a bipod for mobile infantry support or mounted on a tripod for sustained fire. The MG-34 provided high accuracy and flexibility in combat roles. However, its complex design made it expensive and time-consuming to manufacture. The MG-42 machine gun, improved successor to the MG-34 introduced during the war. It had an extremely high rate of fire, creating a distinctive and terrifying sound on the battlefield. The weapon was simpler and faster to produce than its predecessor. It became one of the most feared machine guns used during the war. The Walther P-38 pistol, a semi-automatic pistol that replaced the Luger as the standard German sidearm. It used a double-action trigger system that improved safety and handling. The pistol fired the 9 by 19 mm parabellum cartridge. It was widely issued to officers, tank crews, and support troops. The StuG-44 assault rifle. The StuG-44 was one of the first true assault rifles ever fielded. It used an intermediate cartridge that allowed controllable automatic fire. The weapon combined the range of a rifle with the firepower of a submachine gun. It influenced many later rifle designs around the world. Next, the armored vehicles. The Panzer I, a very light tank originally developed as a training vehicle. It was armed only with machine guns and had thin armor. Despite its limitations, it was used in early campaigns such as Poland and France. It helped Germany rapidly expand its armored forces. The Panzer III, a medium tank designed primarily to fight enemy armored vehicles. Early versions were armed with a 37 mm gun, later upgraded to a 50 mm gun. It was highly maneuverable and reliable in combat. The Panzer III formed the backbone of German armored divisions in the early war years. The Panzer IV, Germany's most widely produced medium tank. Early variants served as infantry support tanks with a short-barreled gun. Later versions were equipped with a long-barreled 75 mm cannon capable of defeating enemy armor. It remained effective throughout the war due to constant upgrades. The Panther tank, Panzer V, a technologically advanced medium tank introduced in 1943. It combined powerful sloped armor with a high-velocity 75 mm gun. The Panther was particularly effective at long-range tank combat. However, early mechanical issues reduced its reliability. The Tiger I heavy tank, a heavily armored tank equipped with the famous 88 mm cannon. It could destroy most Allied tanks at long distances. The thick armor made it extremely difficult to penetrate from the front. However, the tank was expensive and complex to maintain. The StuG-3 assault gun. The StuG-3 was a turretless armor vehicle based on the Panzer III chassis. It was originally designed as an infantry support weapon. Later versions were equipped with powerful anti-tank guns. It became one of the most produced German armored vehicles of the war. Next, artillery and fire support. 10.5 cm leFH 18 Howitzer, the standard German divisional field howitzer. It fired high explosive shells to support infantry operations. The gun had a good balance of range, mobility, and firepower. It remained the backbone of German field artillery. 15 cm SFH 18 heavy howitzer, a heavy artillery piece used for long-range bombardment. It fired large shells capable of destroying fortifications and defensive positions. The weapon provided powerful support during major offensives. However, its heavy weight made it difficult to transport. 7.5 cm PaK 40 anti-tank gun, one of Germany's most effective anti-tank weapons. It was capable of destroying most Allied tanks at medium combat ranges. The gun became widely deployed after 1942. It remained in service until the end of the war. The Nebelwerfer rocket launcher had a multiple rocket launcher used for area bombardment. It fired salvos of rockets that could devastate enemy positions. The weapon produced a distinctive howling sound when firing. Allied soldiers nicknamed it the Screaming Mimi. The Karl-Gerät siege mortar, a massive self-propelled siege mortar used against fortified targets. It fired extremely large shells capable of destroying bunkers and heavy fortifications. The weapon was used during several major siege operations. Its enormous size limited mobility and rate of fire. Next, anti-aircraft defense 20 Flak 38, a light anti-aircraft gun used to defend troops and installations. It was effective against low-flying aircraft. The gun could also be used against lightly armored ground targets. Its mobility allowed it to support frontline units. 37 Flak 36, a medium anti-aircraft gun designed to engage aircraft at greater distances. It had more firepower than smaller AA guns. The weapon was often deployed to protect important military facilities. It also proved useful against ground targets. 88 Flak 36 one of the most famous guns of World War II. It was originally designed as a heavy anti-aircraft weapon. The gun was also extremely effective as an anti-tank weapon. Its long range and high velocity made it highly versatile. The Flakvierling 38, a quadruple-mounted version of the 20mm anti-aircraft gun. It delivered extremely high volumes of fire against low-flying aircraft. The weapon was often mounted on half-tracks and defensive positions. It became a common sight, protecting German units and cities. Next, Luftwaffe, German Air Force. Messerschmitt Bf 109, the primary German fighter aircraft during most of the war. It was fast, agile, and heavily armed for its size. Continuous upgrades kept it competitive against Allied fighters. Thousands were produced for use on multiple fronts. The Focke-Wulf FW-190, a powerful fighter introduced in 1941. It had strong firepower and excellent durability. The aircraft performed well at both low and medium altitudes. It became one of Germany's most effective fighters. The Junkers Ju-87 Stuka, a dive bomber famous for its precision attacks. It was equipped with sirens that created a terrifying sound during dives. The aircraft was extremely effective during early blitzkrieg operations. Later in the war, it became vulnerable to modern fighters. The Heinkel He-111 one of the main German medium bombers. It was widely used during the early stages of the war. The aircraft carried a significant bomb load for its size. It participated in major campaigns, including the Battle of Britain. The Junkers Ju-88, a versatile aircraft used in many roles. It served as a bomber, night fighter, reconnaissance aircraft, and torpedo bomber. The design proved highly adaptable throughout the war. It became one of the Luftwaffe's most important aircraft. The Messerschmitt Me 262, the world's first operational jet-powered fighter. It was significantly faster than any Allied aircraft. The jet was heavily armed with powerful cannons. However, limited production and fuel shortages restricted its impact. Next, the Kriegsmarine German Navy. The Bismarck-class battleships, large and powerful battleships built for Atlantic operations. They carried heavy guns and strong armor protection. The ships were designed to challenge Allied naval forces. Their operations attracted significant Allied attention. Type 7 submarines, U-boats, the most widely used German submarines of the war. They played a central role in the Battle of the Atlantic. These submarines attacked Allied shipping convoys. Their operations threatened supply lines to Britain. Type 9 submarines, long-range U-boats designed for distant patrol missions. They could operate far from European bases. The submarines were often used in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Their extended range made them valuable strategic asset. S-boats, Schnellboote, fast torpedo boats used mainly in coastal waters. Their speed allowed surprise attacks against enemy ships. They operated mostly at night. These boats were difficult for enemy forces to intercept. The Scharnhorst-class battleships, fast capital ships armed with heavy naval guns. They were designed for commerce raiding and fleet actions. Their high speed allowed them to evade larger enemy forces. They operated mainly in the Atlantic and Arctic waters. Next, resistance and auxiliary forces. The Volkssturm militia, a late-war militia formed from civilians and older men. It was created when Germany faced invasion from multiple fronts. Members were often poorly equipped and trained. They were tasked with defending cities and towns. The Hitler Youth Military Units. Youth formations gradually integrated into Germany's defense system. Many served in anti-aircraft units early in the war. Later, some were deployed in direct combat roles. Their participation increased during the final stages of the war. 4 volunteer legions. Units composed of volunteers from occupied countries and allied states. Many served on the Eastern Front. They were integrated into German formations under German command. Their motivations varied widely. SS combat units, Waffen-SS, elite combat formations separate from the regular army. They were heavily armed and often used in major offensives. Some units gained reputations for combat effectiveness. However, they were also involved in numerous war crimes. Next, additional defensive systems. Atlantic Wall, fortifications, a massive system of coastal defenses across Western Europe. It consisted of bunkers, artillery batteries, and obstacles. The system was designed to stop an Allied amphibious invasion. Many sections were heavily fortified. Radar stations, Freya and Würzburg, that early warning radar systems used to detect enemy aircraft. They provided vital information for air defense operations. Radar helped guide fighters and anti-aircraft guns. These systems formed the backbone of Germany's air defense network. Flak towers, massive concrete anti-aircraft fortresses built in major cities. They house heavy anti-aircraft guns and radar equipment. Civilians often used them as bomb shelters. These structures were extremely difficult to destroy. Westwall, Siegfried line, but a defensive line of bunkers and fortifications along Germany's western border. It was designed to counter a potential Allied invasion from France. The line included thousands of bunkers and obstacles. It played a defensive role late in the war. Next, support and engineering units. Pioneer, engineer, units, specialized troops responsible for building fortifications and bridges. They also conducted demolitions and obstacle construction. These units supported both offensive and defensive operations. Their work was essential for battlefield mobility. Signal Corps, Nachrichtentrupp, units responsible for military communications. They maintained radio, telephone, and signal networks. Reliable communication was essential for coordinated operations. They played a crucial role in fast-moving campaigns. Logistics and supply units. These units transported ammunition, fuel, and equipment. They supported frontline troops across vast distances. Germany relied heavily on trucks, railways, and horse transport. Logistics became increasingly strained later in the war. Organization tote that a large engineering organization responsible for military construction. It built roads, fortifications, and defensive lines. The organization also worked on major infrastructure projects. Much of its labor force consisted of forced laborers. Next, special and advanced weapons. V-1 flying bomb, an early cruise missile used against Allied cities. It was launched from ramps or aircraft. The weapon carried a large explosive warhead. Thousands were fired during the later stages of the war. The V-2 rocket, the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile. It traveled faster than the speed of sound. The rocket struck targets without warning. It represented a major technological breakthrough. Horton Ho 229 Flying Wing, an experimental jet-powered flying wing aircraft. It was designed to reduce radar detection. The aircraft represented advanced aerodynamic concepts. Only prototypes were completed before the war ended. Despite their technological advances, Germany's weapons and strategies could not overcome the overwhelming Allied forces. Many of these weapons remain iconic and continue to influence military design and history today.